roasting a whole steer on a pit all night long. Turn. You get to go to the event. You can buy tickets at alzheimers.org, or you can email imiller@alzheimers.org. It's alz.org. That's alz.org. It's going to be a 2-day event. Music, food, live fire events are going to be. I mean, it's just going to be phenomenal. I'm happy to partner up with them. TCN, we're going to be doing some live video footage out there and be making a little video for the Ablaze and Alzheimer's. So I'm excited. Check that out when you get time. In Fort Worth, we have a new place opening up, and it's something else. It's all chicken salad, and it's Chicken Salad Chick, and it's in Montgomery Plaza. Chicken Salad Chick, 10 different kinds of chicken salad, but it's got, I don't know, all kinds of sandwiches, and they got a bunch of them now. I never thought that'd be a thing, but they got them. They got it. So when you get a chance, go to Chicken Salad Chick. That's a tongue twister, isn't it? Have somebody have a few glasses of whiskey and try to do that. Yeah. Chicken Salad Chick. Google that and check it out. It's in Fort Worth. Brunch is now in effect at St. Rocco's, St. Rocco's at Trinity Groves. 5-cent mimosas. 5-cent mimosas and a fantastic brunch. If y'all watched the show 2 weeks ago with Chef Jay Valley, talked about his mom's recipes and everything, and it is fantastic. Can you believe 5-cent mimosas?
I'm there.
Yeah. 2 words, I'm there. That's good.
I got 25 cents. That's all I need.
Yeah, that's good. All right, and something I went to last night, I had a tasting at Shell Shack. CEO Dallas Hale took me to Hell Shack. I met him at Hell Shack. I guess it could be called Hell Shack. I met him at Shell Shack, and I tried their 3 new desserts. And let me tell you something. You'll like these because the way you like to infuse food. They have fried cheesecake bites, fried bud pudding bites, and fried waffle cone fries. I'm going to tell you something. Yeah. Get you some of that.
I'm trying to wrap my brain around the waffle cone fries.
That's what I said until he called me. Then I went up there. Oh, my gosh.
Wait.
It is delicious.
Cone fries. You can probably dip them like marshmallow and chocolate and stuff.
Yeah, you can dip. They come with the cheesecake, and the pudding come with caramel, raspberry. They got powdered sugar on them. I mean, they were something else. I was eating them, and I had to go try. We were going to go to his sushi restaurant, Sushi Marquee at Star, and he said, "Quit eating. Don't fill up on that stuff." But it was hard to quit eating them. They were just delicious. They were savory, creamy, flavorful. All Shell Shack locations. I've got a video posted tonight on social media at Trey's Chowdown. Trey's Chowdown on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It's going to show all of it. The sauces. When we cut them open, they're like the cheesecake bites were fun. They were all good. The waffle fries, but I love cheesecake, so it was really good.
I love cheesecake too.
Well, I'm telling you, it's hard to beat. Okay, Bob. Thanks, Chef Bob. Thanks for coming in. I told
it's
you.
A pleasure.
Yeah, I told you I was going to take your hoodie from you.
I got another one, so I'll get it in the mail when I get home. I was watching the news, and this coronavirus deal has gotten out of control, literally. I think, but because we have very few have it in the United States, but it's not out of control overseas, of course, but it is the way they're presenting it's out of control here. They have all the restaurants now going into all this preliminary pre-washing extra and all this stuff, and that's all. They should be doing it anyway. As a restaurant, you should do it anyway. You know that, but they just scared everybody to death. Scared everybody to death, and I was looking at the news this morning. They have I counted 5 different restaurant companies that put out special PR notices about doing extra. Only 5?
Yeah, well, that's just the ones that I saw that I got the notices on. Yeah, but it's just crazy. So, Bob, you have the new concept, Chinese Neighbor.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that later. That's here in Fort Worth. But where are you from originally?
I'm actually from Hong Kong. I was born in Hong Kong. And then our family immigrated to San Francisco in 76. So when I was 6 years old.
So let me, I lived in San Francisco for a year and a half. I lived in Marin for a year and a half back in right before 2000.
What part of Marin?
Right across the bridge up in the hills.
No, what part? Marin? What part of Marin?
What city?
Marin, in Marin County? Or?
Yeah, Marin County. In Marin County. Yeah, right across the bridge. Okay. Yeah. I was up on top of the hill at a friend's place.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Beautiful, right?
Beautiful.
Did you have a view of the city?
Yes. Yeah, we had a view. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you got the bridge too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mount Tam. You were like right on top of Mount Tam.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Mount Tam. That's right.
The only reason I came home was I got a call from my dad, and he said, "You have two choices: you either come home, or you're going to have to find a different job out there because you're not going to get anything." I'm like, "I tell you what, I'll see you Monday."
Yeah.
But I was out there. I was getting restaurant experience. I had worked in Orange County, in Westwood, and Los Angeles, and went to San Francisco. And I had some cats and stuff, and I was just kind of gaining experience about other things. So, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh yeah, how can you not? Just the weather alone.
Oh yeah,
you know?
That's why it's so expensive to live there. Now they got some crazy stuff going on now. But hey, what was the difference when you first moved from Hong Kong to San Francisco? Was it a big culture shock to you, or was it? Well, I guess
in a way, yeah. I mean, I think the obvious ones moving from Hong Kong to to America in general, just space.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. I didn't think about that.
And that like, wow, there's not a lot of people here. And I mean, moving from Hong Kong to San Francisco is like, man, San Francisco is. I mean, I love Hong Kong. It's beautiful in its own way. But like, you go to San Francisco, you're like, you go to Fisherman's Wharf, you can see Golden Gate Bridge. It's like I was like a tourist for years.
Yeah. Well, you can never see everything.
Yeah, because I mean, when we moved here, we moved like right by Chinatown in North Beach.
Yeah.
And if you know where North Beach is, I mean, there's $5 million houses there now.
Yeah.
I lived like right, like literally in between Fisherman's Wharf, Chinatown, right in the middle of North Beach. I'm a block away from Washington Square.
Right.
Right. I mean, I can walk down to Fisherman's Wharf. I can walk down. Everything is within 15, 20 minutes of me. I literally like lived in a tourist neighborhood.
Yeah.
I didn't to this actually until now. I didn't realize how lucky I was growing up.
Right.
You move away and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, geez, like I had it made. I had no idea. Like you go out, like I love Texas. Texas is awesome. It's beautiful housing. Like
it's lots of space.
Yeah, lots of space. But you don't get like kind of the touristy
cultures.
The culture's a little bit different.
In San Francisco, in one block, you can eat 10 different kinds of cultures food. It's phenomenal.
I never even owned a car in San Francisco. Right. Yeah. I never owned a car because you really don't need one unless you're trying to leave San Francisco.
Yeah, right.
And then basically you always just take public transportation. So, but in terms of the food, since we live so close to Chinatown, I live like literally like 2 blocks from Chinatown. And going into Chinatown in the 70s at that time was all Hong Kong, imported chefs.
So it was authentic food.
So for the most part, the food wasn't that much different.
Yeah.
Like I still ate wonton mein, and we still got dim sum on Sundays. It wasn't that huge. People always expect us. Oh my God, you like the food. You must have hated the food. And I was like, you know what? I was 6 years old. One, but 2, I was like, wow. I mean, we walk into Chinatown almost every day to go shopping for for food, for ourselves. So like, well, I heard Cantonese all day long, just like in Hong Kong. They were all pretty much everybody I was, from in Chinatown at that time were mostly, Hong Kong, immigrants. So I was like, well, it wasn't that huge. So it was and then when I first got here, when I was in Hong Kong, like the first, they obviously, when you go to, kindergarten or grade school, they teach you Chinese, but they also teach you English as a second language.
There for everybody?
It's included. You learn the ABCs, mom, dad, cat, dog. They teach you all the basics. So it wasn't like we were unaware
that's cool.
of the language.
I didn't know that.
We came in going, okay, I can put that word together, says open, I can sound stuff out, and I can kind of get, have the basics already. So it wasn't, and like right when I got here, I remember there were transition schools here too. So since we're so close to Chinatown, we went to a daytime. The first school I went to, everybody spoke Chinese there. They're all Chinese kids. But we're all there learning English.
So it wasn't a big change for you.
Yeah, it wasn't like
except more space.
Except and less rain and more.
I will say this much. I will say this much. Hong Kong at night is way more beautiful than San Francisco. Way more.
Yeah, in that sense, yes, definitely. Yeah, all the little neons and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah.
So you were there, and then how long before you moved out? When did you get the food bug? When did you get did you start cooking at a younger age, or was
No,
it after?
I just ate. I mean, I just loved food. I mean, I think you talk to most people, they all love food.
Right.
But I seem to have. I seem to gravitate towards it more than most people for some reason.
Okay.
I don't think it's not just me. I think it's just part of a lot of Asian or it's Chinese in specific, since we were talking about that. But in general, actually in Asian cultures, food is really that important in its culture. Like almost everything happens around the kitchen table kind of thing.
I was just
you
fixing to say
spend
that.
most of your time. I remember the memories I remember were, one was spending time. I was telling you, like, we go, we went to Chinatown every day. The reason why I went to Chinatown every day was to actually go shopping for food. Like in terms of what Asian, a lot of Asian shopping happens, back in the day, where my family grew up in China, they went out shopping for food, fresh food every day.
Every day.
Yeah, it was a normal thing. It wasn't the big, Costco shopping now,
Yeah. Well, that had to make an impression on you as a child, though, because that helped develop your palate, right?
Yeah. So basically, well, not only develop my palate, but I was like, this is normal everyday life. You go and pick your vegetables. You learn. As a child, that's what I learned. I was like, all right, that's a fresh orange. You see the wilty greens on that? Don't get that. Get the fresh, bright, clean. I was 7, 8 years old, holding my mom's hand through Chinatown, like learning how to pick.
You know what you were getting? You were getting free education.
Yeah, I'm basically was getting an education
from your mother.
Yeah, from my mother.
Yeah.
And then when we got home, guess what? As I'm hanging out, like I'm peeling green beans. I'm helping I'm sitting at the kitchen table, like helping her out, learning how to prep food as I was growing up. And back then, back in the 70s, you could actually still go crabbing in the bay.
Yeah, you can't anymore.
You can't anymore. But back then, I remember, like, my brother, because he was old enough, so he would go down to the pier and just bring back actual live crabs. So we're like just tons of crab, we'd eat at the family table.
Fresh as you can get.
Yeah. So it was always this, like, in our family, it was always really, really food focused.
So what was your most memorable experience as a child with food before you left San Francisco? Do you have one memorable experience, or was it just all just good?
Let's see. Before I left San Francisco, I remember. Oh, you know what I remember most? At least, or I want to say there was one particular thing that I remember most. What I remember was, how all teenagers rebel. Right. I remember when I was growing up, as a young teen, when I was in that rebellious age, I remember not wanting to eat Chinese food because I wanted to be more American.
Right.
I wanted to go and eat at McDonald's like all the other kids. I think you'll see, like, I think it was Eddie Wang's show. Like he talks a lot about that on his Fresh Off the Boat show.
Sure.
He was like, why, Mom? Why do I have to eat this Chinese? It's embarrassing to, and I can totally relate to that. I remember going, when we go to Chinese restaurants sometimes, I'll be like, dude, seriously, why can't we just go to McDonald's once? And I remember pouting there, and I remember my parents getting mad at me, like, disciplining me for not wanting to eat Chinese food.
I know.
Of all things.
And look where Chinese food culture's gone today.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember that, like, I couldn't believe I did that. I was like now, like, I never eat at McDonald's.
Is your mom still alive?
No, she passed a while back. My dad's still alive.
Oh, yes, that's alive. Is he here? Is he here, or is he?
He's actually in the Bay Area.
Oh, so he still lives there. So you go back then?
Oh, yes, I go back to Bay Area a lot. Actually.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Good.
My whole family's still in the Bay Area.
Did you have a restaurant there, or worked at a restaurant?
I used to. Yeah, I had. I was actually. I got my. That's how my chef career started, was in San Francisco.
Okay, that's why I was just fixing to go. So you stayed in San Francisco, then that's where you got your chef career started. Because I remember when we talked we talked for a long time at it's your new Chinese neighbor concept, and I really enjoyed listening to everything you had to say. And I remember you saying San Francisco was where you started. Did you go to school there, or did you just start in the kitchen?
I went to the oldest 2-year program in the West Coast. It's a city college in San Francisco. It has a hotel and restaurant department. It's been around for like 100. So like it's just been around forever. I did my 2-year program there, and I remember getting out of there and doing my internship at BeetleNet in San Francisco.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What was the most, when you started culinary school, was it everything you thought it was going to be? Was it what you expected, or was it more?
I had no idea. I had
no preconceived notions?
Okay, I had very, very little restaurant experience when I went to culinary school. I think I had like 4 or 5 years of experience in like working at delis. That's it.
Okay.
So I've never actually really worked in a hot kitchen. So going into the industry was like, what was it? It was, it was a shock in a way, but it was also like going home. If that makes sense.
Yeah. You felt at home. You felt comfortable.
I've never seen any of this stuff before. I didn't understand the references. I didn't know what a hotel pan was. I didn't know what, there's a lot of different, like the kind of like the basics that you didn't know. But then I felt right at home there because I felt like everybody there were like misfits or kind of, like, how like Tony Bourdain? Like
I was just fixing to tell you that.
And cowboys and
misfits.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like, oh, wow. These guys are all little kind of, screw ups too.
Yeah.
I was like, I fit right in here. This is no problem.
That's what he turned into. That's what Bourdain said. One of his statements, which I shared on my chef page, said, the kitchen is a place for misfits.
Yep, exactly what that felt like. I was like, okay, this is I can totally, I can make a career out of this. This isn't a problem. I fit right in here.
And so you went through school, you graduated, and you went to work for, what was it called?
BeetleNet.
BeetleNet. And what kind of food did they serve? What was the cuisine?
They did all different types of Asian food. But I'll tell you an interesting story. So as we're going through culinary school, what they had back then, I mean, this was like, I think it was like 90 or late 80s. So they will teach you, like I was saying, like all the basic French techniques, what mise en place mean, the mother sauces and stuff like that. They barely ever touched on Asian food, right? But all the places I would actually like as I'm going through school, when I have my little job I save up money for, I would go and try to eat at all these different types of Asian restaurants. Right? So I would always look for, because I love Chinese food, but I also want to discover different styles of food.
New things.
So like I would always save up to go to Straits Cafe, which does like, Singaporean food or the Indonesian food, or I would look for all these different types of Asian food to go and kind of check out because I've never had it before. I can't afford to go to all these different countries,
Yeah, it's right there though.
Yeah, exactly. At least I get to try the food, And I remember doing that, and then I remember like, as I was going to graduate, they sat me down. I remember like I was like really depressed at the time. And like my girlfriend broke up with me, and stuff like that. Yeah. And I was like, man, I think I'm done with school. I was like completely unmotivated.
You were rebelling again.
Yeah, I was like just unmotivated at the time. And the counselor sat me down. It's like, all right, so you got to do your internship. You got to pick a place. And I was like, you know what? I want to just go home. I'm gonna cry. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I guess I'll just, I heard people who work in hotels make money. And she was like, "You really want to work in a hotel?" and I was like, "Why? What's wrong with that?" She goes, "I don't see you as the type." And I haven't even spent that much time with her, but she knew. Like she was like, "You don't seem like the type that should be working in a hotel." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Well, do you really want to do the same thing over and over again?"
Repetitious.
That's basically what they do at hotels.
Yeah,
you're gonna roast 500, after your 500 roast beef, are you going to be okay with that?
Hang on, Bob, you got to correct. That's what they used to do at hotels. Now they don't do that at hotels. But go ahead.
But she was like, well, probably, here. And then she pulls out a menu. She literally just like, here, check this place out. And she pulls out a menu, and it was the BeetleNet menu. And what they listed was actually like a lot of different, like there was in Thai food, there was Japanese food, there was Chinese food, there was like a little bit of a mix of everything. And, what for all you guys who don't know what a betel nut is basically something that Southeast Asians chew, that they put in their mouth. It's basically, it was like an Asian chewing tobacco. basically.
Okay, so
It's like,
how big is it?
I believe it was like a lime nut wrapped in a betel leaf, but like all throughout Southeast Asia, they put it between the tongue and cheek, and they kind of
Like dip or something.
like dip, right? And then they would spit, and it's you don't see it anymore. Yeah, it's out of because it just creates
Interesting,
this
though.
kind of a nasty thing to do. but it was kind of considered kind of somewhat a small narcotic, so kind of like like chewing. Yeah, that was.
Did it give you a pick me up or something?
Yeah, it did.
Oh,
It gives you kind of like a sensation too.
Okay.
So that was kind of like, it was a neat name, and they were like, oh, so it's something, so they used that as, as an Asian beer house. That was what it was called.
Oh, neat. I still like the name. The name is cool.
Yeah, it is. And it had all these different types of food. And I remember looking at the menu going, dude, I want to work here. I was like, I get to go and actually, instead of actually, because this is what I used to eat, I get to go and learn a bunch of these different
make
things.
It all.
I got in there and I did I got in there and did my internship and made sous chef, I think within like a year or something like that, like really fast. And I literally just came out. I have like no restaurant experience, to get to sous chef that fast was kind of like, like an unheard of thing back then. It was unusual back then. Nowadays you can, get an online culinary degree and call yourself a chef. Back then, it was a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Well, but we talked about this. That's your passion. That was your passion.
Yeah.
You wanted to do it. You said yourself. You felt at home in the kitchen.
I remember walking into Beetle Nut for the first time, and this is back when there were no open kitchens. This was like the
closed
first,
off.
Yeah, this is like the first open kitchen. Like the entire line was completely exposed. So you see, like I had two different wok stations, the grill station, everything. I looked at that wok. And I was like, dude, I need to learn how to work that. So for all y'all who don't understand why that is, where it's like this big thing, right? It's because what you have at home in terms of what you can produce Chinese food at home and the Chinese food you see in a restaurant, completely different. Right? I can't produce what I can produce at home will taste completely different from what the stuff. So you'll have this evolution. If you go to let's say your local Chinese neighbor's house, their food will not taste anything like the restaurants.
Is that why you named it Chinese neighbor?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of fuse the two because the biggest difference is because, well, one, at your house, the BTUs at your house is maybe 3,000-4,000
Doesn't get
BTUs.
hot enough.
Yeah. Yeah, inside a Chinese restaurant, it's like 130,000 BTUs. It's like 20 folds what you can do at home.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I always I ate at a lot of Chinese restaurants. I was like, dude, I can never make this stuff nearly as good as what I can get at the restaurants. And in a way, I knew why, because they had different equipment, But in terms of the flavor, the techniques, all of those things, I've always wanted to learn that. So I remember when I saw the woks, I was like, holy crap, I get to learn that. I mean, this is how crazy I was. Okay?
No, that was passion, though. You were excited.
So I had the stove at my house. So I was like, really, I wanted to replicate Chinese food, like Chinese restaurant style Chinese food at home so bad. I remember going, okay, so they have higher heat temperatures. I'm going to try to, I went into my stove and I start, like the gas holes, and I start widening them up. So the flame at my house was just going up like 12 inches, and my mom would get mad at me. My mom would get mad, you going to burn down the house? And she replaced, every time I opened them up, she would replace it with a new one. And I was like, what happened? I had it perfect. She's like, you going to burn down the house? What you mean you had it perfect?
That's a good story.
That's a good story. And then so when I saw those woks, I was like, dude, I'm going to master that. And so for me, it was this kind of thing. I need to learn how to do all these different Korean foods. I want to learn how to do all this Thai food. I remember going, especially when I first got in, and the whole thing was they had to let me touch the wok. It's almost like getting permission.
Yeah.
Because I remember back then, there were all these Chinese, all the people that were working woks were all Chinese at the time, right?
Well, was it kind of a symbolic thing?
Yeah, it was just kind of it was I think it was early 80s where they didn't you don't see wok. It's like the fusion restaurants that wasn't available. We were the first, we were actually one of the first. I won't say the first, but we were one of the first. So when they hired people, we needed when they opened they were hiring wok cooks. what they hired was like, well, we need to hire people who know how to work woks. So basically, they were like, well, we're going to hire a bunch of Chinese wok cooks. They don't know how to do it. So they were extremely protective.
Sure, yeah,
They're
of their
like, "No,
territory."
you can't this is my territory. You don't touch this. You don't cross this line. You stay over there. And they were okay with me. I spoke Cantonese, you know. So
Yeah.
I was speaking to them. They like eventually I had to like work up to them and kind of be nice,
Yeah.
and you know. And then they'll let me like make the because it was like the easiest dish to make, you know, like just sauce, fried meat, toss, kind of like sweet and sour, you know.
Right.
Like there's version of sweet and sour. They'll let me play with that first because it's like you can't screw that dish up.
Right.
So
Well, you
just
know,
to
it
learn how to
looks,
use
it
the
looks
wok,
cool
yeah.
when you go. See, I'm a big opponent of open kitchens. I love open kitchens. If you read anything about me, I love open kitchens, and especially that style of cooking when they work those woks in the fire and stuff, and the smell, the aromas. It's just fantastic to look at. It's just great visual because you eat with your eyes. You know that by your plating. So it's just a neat deal. So that was pretty forward thinking back in the '80s.
Oh yeah, it really, really was. That's what I mean. We did, I think, what, 6 million a year.
Wow.
Like back in the,
That's
it was,
a lot.
I mean, it was a lot. I mean, I think we only had like 120. We did like 500 covers on weekends. It was nuts. You know, yeah. It was a lot of fun. I remember we were always on the top 40 list. You know, we were always on the top 40 list of Zagat. We're always on the top 100 for Bauer's list.
Yeah.
We were all, what was it? We got Jay's Beard the first year or two, Jay's Beard nomination for Best New Restaurant. You know, got a lot of accolades. So actually, it was Cecilia Chang, pretty much the godmother of Chinese food in America. She was our consultant. Actually, that's how I got to meet her, and we became friends. We're still friends.
Has anything you've done today? Did you get anything off her? Did you gain any knowledge or any of her traits from where you've gone from there to where you are now in any of your other restaurants?
Simpler is better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've cooked for her enough to know that, like, let the ingredients shine. She likes things like corn with a little bit of chili and salt. But you just execute, like if you wok toss that at the right, and you know how, you know, chefs always tell you, it's all about heat control.
Right.
When you have 3 ingredients, it's all about heat control after that, right?
Yeah.
Because
You can't hide anything.
You can't hide anything.
Yeah.
So like if you get that saute pan not hot enough, it's not perfect. If you get that wok too hot, it's scorched. If you don't move it fast enough, and you know what I mean, there's so it's
A lot of variables.
It
Looks easy, but a lot of variables.
Exactly.
So you left San Francisco. Where'd you go from there?
Actually, I was recruited technically.
Okay.
For to be the R&D chef for P.F. Chang's.
That's right. We talked about that too. And you know, that's one of my favorite places, P.F. Chang's.
Oh, really?
Even though it's a corporate store, corporate chain, I love their food. I love their.
Yeah, they work very, very hard at getting consistent. And Philip Chang, and Philip Chang is actually the son of Cecilia Chang, and that's where the Chang part of.
God, that's a great thing to know.
The PF is the Paul Fleming, and the Chang is Philip Chang.
So when they recruited you to go to work for them, how many stores did they have? They must have been just
It was
starting.
60, I think, at the time.
Okay.
And they had 1 or 2 payways. So
I like Payway. I like Payway too for something fast, but I still like PF Chang's for the overall food quality and the different varieties of the menus and stuff options they have. So how long were you with PF Chang's?
about 6-7 years.
And what was your favorite thing about PF Chang's working there?
The favorite thing is I got to travel. I got to travel. I got to study. I mean, for me, like I remember, I was going through the process, right? Going through the interview process. I was actually I was going to Philip Chang actually was opening a place called Lucky Duck in L.A. I was up for that position also, but I remember sitting down with Cecilia and talking to her about, you know, like, hey, look, your son offered me a job, and your son's company also is looking for me to do the R&D. And I was talking to her about it, and she was like, yeah, but, you know, I was like, for me, I get to study, this is the big thing, like, I get to study Chinese food and get paid for it. You know,
Yeah.
this is already my passion. You know, for me, I don't need to get paid to do it. I would actually just do it on my own.
Yeah.
But then they'll pay me to go to China and learn even more through. You know,
So you actually went to China to create the dishes to help create
Yes.
inspiration for the dishes.
Yeah, I went to China. I traveled so much. Let's put it this way: within the 6 years I was there, I filled up a passport
Wow.
completely. I had to get a new one because it just got so many stamps.
Stamps.
Yeah, I got so many stamps.
So what was your favorite dish you created at PF Chang's?
I would say my personal favorite one is the sea bass dish, which is probably the most simple. It's just broiled.
Yeah.
It's
Wait a minute.
brine and
Wait a minute. Hang
broiled.
on. It's not. But everybody, a lot of people screw it up.
Yeah.
It comes out tough or not. I mean, it's a simple dish. It's got a lot of flavor, but they can screw it up pretty easy too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love. That was probably my favorite one. And then there's one. It used to be called Tam noodles. I think it's kind of weird. They named it after me, but I actually don't like rice cakes because it's made out because they stick to my teeth. But they named it after me, so I thought that was always kind of weird.
Well, that was good. Hey, on their egg, because their egg drop soup is always really good. It's always consistent. I've eaten big bowls of it before. You know, just at the bar and eating big.
I eat that stuff like everything.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Like,
so
yeah,
why is if I go to one restaurant like PF Chang's, it's one color, takes one way. Another Chinese restaurant, it's a darker
Turmeric.
color. And what
Turmeric.
Turmeric? Okay.
It's that simple.
Oh,
Yeah, it's that simple.
So you know what I was gonna say.
People put turmeric, so the chicken base that people use,
Right.
you know, there's some people who put more turmeric or some people use none. So
Okay.
you'll see it and it'll be like clear and then you'll see like yellow.
No matter what PF Chang's I go to, it's always tastes the same. It's always
Yeah,
fresh
it's
and
super
good.
consistent. That's the one thing
Yeah.
about PF Chang's, they're like really, really consistent. Yeah.
So you left PF Chang's. Where'd you go from there?
Actually, I looked for opportunities for myself. I was looking to kind of do my own
Right.
thing. So that actually took a little while, but I eventually ended up partnering with Ross Simon, and we opened up Bitter and Twisted about 5 years ago, I think now.
That's in
I think
Phoenix?
6 years, yeah. Yeah, downtown Phoenix, right by the ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing well?
It is the most awarded bar in all of Arizona. So I'm lucky. We've been very fortunate. My business partner, Ross, he is an amazing bartender. So I mean, it's his concept. You know,
Yeah.
I remember my business partner, who at the time owned the building that we're in, that Bitter and Twisted it's in.
Yeah.
He approached me. He said, "Hey, he has this space. He wants to do something with it." He asked me to help him. You know, hey, let's do a concept together. And I approach other potential partners. And I remember meeting Ross Simon one day because we actually had the same design guy. We used the same design guy, and we had a meeting. He introduced me to Ross, which kind of weird because I actually already knew him because he did some consulting on some of the projects I was consulting on. And I was like, hey, you're from Southern. And he goes, yeah, well, that's anyway. So I remember him putting his business plan in front of me, which he worked on for 10 years.
Wow.
And
That's a little bit thought
he
out.
showed me, and then he explained this. He goes, yeah, so I did my training in the UK at the lab, which is like world famous.
I've seen it. The
I've
lab,
seen it. And
crazy dishes. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, well, no, the lab. I mean, it's a bar, but they invent like a lot of the newer classic cocktails. Actually came from the lab. I don't know a lot about the bar industry, but then I learned a lot from Ross. He was like, he came from like a really famous school from where a lot of famous bartenders come from. And he was like, here, and he showed me like, this is what the lab's cocktail menu look like. I want to do one that looks like that. And it's like a booklet. It has like a matrix on it in terms of flavor. You know how wine, you've seen those matrices where the wine, where he has one for cocktails, and you'll see it on our Bitter and Twisted menu also. Has this giant book of cocktails. I remember reading through his business plan. And I think I glanced through, I was like, okay, let's go. I'll just do the food. You have the concept. I didn't even argue with him.
Yeah.
You
was too well thought out.
obviously know what you're talking about. You've obviously done your homework. I know bar food because basically that's what Beetle Nut was in San Francisco. It was basically, we were doing Asian beer house food.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what you're talking about here is just doing world-inspired bar food.
Right.
I'll just expand and, do some, throw some Italian influence, some French influence. So basically we kind of have, at Bitter and Twisted, we kind of have a world inspired. So basically we have no limits, but we try to make things like really fun and shareable, basically.
Sure.
And so we, and the food at Bitter and Twisted actually does
cocktails
very well.
and shareable bites. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Yeah. So you left there. You're still there, but you decided to do Chinese Neighbor.
Yes.
And you just told me how that concept came about, and why did you? So you first one's in what's the name?
Prosper.
Sorry, yes. I drove up there twice. Anyway, it's in Prosper, and I love the colors. I told you I love the decor. I love it all. When did you decide you wanted to start Chinese Neighbor, and how did you decide?
I'll be honest with you. It was actually my business partner's idea.
Okay.
His name is Daniel Liu. And he's the one who actually has a restaurant supply store here, and he has a partner which is a friend of mine named Benny, that has the Lido Restaurant Supply in Phoenix.
Okay.
And me and Benny have been friends for like almost 20 years now, and so that's how we all hooked up, because I was friends with Benny, and Benny's like, hey, I have a partner in Dallas that wants to do, and then he explained to me, what his concept was, that he wanted to do kind of like a casual counter service kind of place. He wasn't ready to do a full service thing yet, and I was like, okay, well, and then we actually just kind of slowly started building it together. I was actually kind of consulting at first, and then eventually we just like, well, you know what, we enjoy working with each other.
Who did the colors and decor? Because this is a neat looking place.
It's actually one of our other. It's a friend of ours who was actually, he came in. It was kind of like a partner of ours, you can say. Like he actually works out of Phoenix. Also, he did a lot of work for Fitch Design. He spent 12 years at Fitch, which does a lot of work for Fox Restaurant Concepts. Right. That recently just got bought out by Cheesecake Factory.
Right.
So I
saw that. Yeah. Restaurant news.
So he actually he spent some time living in Hong Kong and did design work in Hong Kong.
Oh wow.
So he actually took some of that, knowledge and actually incorporated that into the Chinese Neighbor, because I'm from Hong Kong. So actually some of the color scheme and the tiles and things like that and the look of it actually reflects a lot of Hong Kong architecture. Surprise, I know.
Well, no, I love the way it looks.
The teal there's like
I love that
about
color.
the history about that teal.
Yeah. Well, also too, it looks very clean.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It looks very clean.
All the tiling represents the metro, the tube, like the underground.
Oh, neat.
It has a look of that feel, that look and feel of it.
So let's talk about the menu, because this is so funny, because you brought me some dishes, and then you said, "So
I brought you all the really crazy stuff."
I know you said how hungry are you? I said, "I'll just keep bringing them." But Dan, you kept bringing them all right. They were all good. Yeah. They were all good. So let's talk about the menu. The menu is an infused menu. It's kind of your creation, correct?
Yes. Well, some of it we do a lot of fusion, but. You'll look at it, you'll recognize most of it.
Right.
You can go to a lot of restaurants and go, oh, I know exactly what that is. And for us, what I like to refer to it as our kind of like our love letter to Chinese American food.
Right.
So there's a lot of Chinese American classics you'll see in there, beef broccoli, that people, that don't want anything crazy or challenging.
Right.
That they, they're like comfort foods. Basically, I think what Philip and Cecilia, those guys, they have created, like it's part of our, that style of food. It's part of our culture now.
Sure.
That kind of food you can't find in China.
Right.
It's really uniquely American food now.
Right.
We call it Chinese American, but again, it's not like you can get it somewhere else.
Sure.
So we we try to pay as much love to that as possible. But then there's also part of that menu, I think, that really reflects who I am in general as a chef. Since I am Hong Kong born, I immigrated here, I try to incorporate American comfort foods with Chinese comfort foods.
Right.
So I think one of the dishes I remember cooking for you was our version of like mac and cheese.
Right.
Which was basically like a version of, what do you call it? A Hong Kong style cafe, Western style cafe,
Right.
where they would take, either rice or noodles, and they'll put like a sauce, a sauce on top of it with cheese and bake it, and for me, like I was like, wow, that's actually the flavor of what actually mac and cheese can
Right.
be, and I think one of the other things.
You served it, wasn't it in a skillet?
Yeah,
it was in a
basically because we
skillet.
had to bake it, so we had to put it in a pan
Right.
that can take the heat.
Yeah. So
we-
what's all on that dish? What's all on it?
So what we had was the rice noodle rolls, which is cheng fan. So basically they're like noodle sheets that they roll up into little nuggets. You'll see them at dim sum houses.
Right.
Cut them into tubes, cool them down, then you pan fry them to order. So they get kind of crispy. So they're actually kind of like almost like dumplings.
Right.
But in a way, basically what a macaroni is just basically a noodle rolled up like
Gotcha.
a tube.
Gotcha.
So it's actually kind of the closest thing that a Chinese noodle can be to macaroni. And then from there, you just take like a nice, actually we call it shrimp and lobster mac and cheese. So we take the shrimp and lobster version of it, and then we add a little cheese to it and kind of, make
bake
that
it?
as the sauce. And then we put some more cheese on top, and then we bake it with the shrimp, obviously the shrimp and
Yeah,
lobster.
that was a good dish, good looking dish.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you got a whole name a few of the creative dishes, the infused dishes that you have now.
Let's see. The other big one that we actually created at Bitter and Twisted first was the dumpling burger.
Dumpling
It was,
burger, yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it was actually that was Ross's idea.
Did you bring that today?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll see that in a little bit. And then I think the other one was smoked brisket fried rice.
Did you bring that?
Yeah,
That was good too.
Yeah, so we brought that also. And
Did you hear that? Smoked brisket fried rice.
Yep.
This is Texas barbecue country.
Yeah,
And you
so-
got
yeah,
smoked
I
brisket
tried-
fried rice.
I was playing a lot with the whole, like, okay, what can we incorporate? I think there was one of the other things that I actually tried. We tried to do country fried steak,
Yeah.
fried rice.
Oh,
we played around with that. Also.
that wouldn't work, would it?
Yeah.
Would that-
No, it actually
would
worked
it
out
work?
pretty good, but it was just the smoked brisket one was
Yeah.
so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we found one that like people like just brisket everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's like brisket on everything here.
But you'd think as much brisket as we eat, we're going to run out of cows in Texas, but we won't. But
no,
I mean,
you run out of brisket though.
Yeah, we
Just
just,
at one
we'll
point.
just keep producing more cows to get more brisket. But yeah, so that's really in the menu. So what were the beautiful star things that I had? You maybe some big beautiful star,
Oh, the wontons. Oh,
but they were
See,
big.
So the wontons,
Yeah.
the smoked salmon ones.
Yeah.
That one was we did that for the Chinese New Year pop-up.
Okay.
We have the I guess more the traditional Rangoon or
Okay.
wontons with the little crab meat in them. That's what we serve at the restaurant. The ones I made for you. We made that just for you.
Oh, okay. I liked them. They were good.
I know. I remember. I actually want to. So our idea was like so. Okay, so I have all these other crazy ideas.
Sure you do.
So we want to eventually, hopefully, the idea is to actually build a bar concept here one day. Kind of like something.
It'll work.
Something
It'll
like.
work.
Something where we have a beverage program, like a high, like maybe I'll get Ross to help us with the, come in and open a bar, and then we'll do like really fun little snacks to go with it.
Yeah.
And that would be one of the things I would put on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People love that.
So basically, it's like an everything bagel.
Yeah.
With smoked salmon in it, but in a wonton form, basically.
Well, it was larger, so it kind of be like a small starfish looking thing.
Yeah,
But it was,
basically, I overstuffed them for you. I checked you out, man. So I went and saw all the food you ate, man. It's all big food. There's no little food.
No,
it's just like everything with a chop and stacked on top of with a knife over it. And how many different things can I put on this dish?
That is so true.
Yeah.
I don't do kindly to little dishes. I just don't. I don't. Now I like sushi, but I'll eat a bunch of it. Like if I go eat sushi, like last night, we tried a bunch of different things. But it's just.
See, I know if I was gonna do sushi, I'm gonna have to get like the whole table. I have to bring it. I have to plate it on the table.
Well, I did it at Black Pillow Katana. They brought out a sushi boat for me.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it was so good. It was so huge. Oh my God, it was delicious.
Oh, that would be awesome.
They had a roll called Sushi 101 that was just delicious. It was fantastic. Have you been at sometime you need to go down to that Black Ship Little Katana at restaurants on Lamar. It's the Omni Hotel has got 7 restaurant concepts they own, all have their own separate chefs. Everything's all fresh made every day. And one of them is that Black Ship Katana, and it is fantastic. Yeah.
I have not gone out that much here.
I know, you're working.
Yeah, so
You're trying to make that Chinese neighbor successful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Ron, can we get those dishes so we can show everybody, please? Thank you. Yeah, they're working on them now. That dumpling burger is awesome.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to get a lot of press on that when we were doing it. We got featured quite a bit. You know.
Where did the inspiration come from on that?
It was Ross.
That was
actually he was at Tales of the Cocktail one year, you know, picking up his nominations and stuff. But he said I remember him coming back and he goes, I went to this place and they do a dumpling flavored burger, you know, and he was like, can you do that? And I was like, dude, that's a softball, man. Come on. I mean, you know,
oh, yeah.
Like, how easy would that be? Like, you know, like for me, like, I've seen enough stuff where like I've seen versions of burgers that, you know, like in China that they don't even realize that could be, you know, because they actually have like, they would fill like, like stuffed dumplings and they would just flatten them and then kind of sear them basically kind of like that.
Yeah.
Except it's enclosed, you know?
That smells so good.
And it's basically, I remember that was the first thing I made for him. I was like, look, I'll make you exactly what would be considered a burger in China. I made it for him. He goes, well, that's not what I'm looking for. And I was like, well, you got to understand, that's just, I want you to taste what actual and what could be an actual burger, like a Chinese style burger in China. This is what it's like.
So we're going to talk about this one right here because I love this dumpling burger. Burglar. I said burglar.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at the cheese on that. Look at that. Is so amazing. That is just awesome. It smells so good. What's on the French fries?
Those are umami fries. It was actually something that I was playing around with and at Little Rituals, our sister place next to Bitter and Twisted. I did the food over there. It's basically wok toss salt and pepper fries. I guess you could say. Yeah, you ever had like salt and pepper shrimp?
Yeah.
You know how they fry shrimp and they take like scallions and garlic and they stir fry it with a little bit of salt. So we kind of do that with this, except we call it umami fries. So there's like a little bit of truffle salt in it. And also there's furikake, which also has lots of natural umami. And then there's Parmesan. Or actually, Parmesan and pecorino. You know, so it's like all the different things that have umami. I have like 6 different things that have umami in it, and I use that as a seasoning or a topping on top of it.
Hey Ron, let me see. Can y'all see that? I don't know if y'all can see that burger right there, but look at the cheese on that. On the other camera right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our version of Xinjiang bao. So
Xinjiang bao.
Yeah, Xinjiang bao. So you heard of like juicy buns or XLB or xiulongbao, right? So that's Shanghai's most famous dumpling. So basically a soup dumpling, right? So it's usually a steam with pork inside, and it's supposed to be really juicy. So what the Xinjiang bao is it means jin or pan-seared bun, right? That's literally what it translates at. And it's basically, people call it the cousin to the juicy bun.
Okay.
So what they do is they take kind of like the juicy filling and they would put it inside a bread wrapper instead. And if you ever in Shanghai, how they usually make it is they would actually have very specific pans that almost look like a crepe pan, but it kind of pops up a little bit so it has a little bit of handle, but it's set in, right? So they fill all of those up and then they sear them off and then they brown them in these very specific pans so they get them crispy
like that
on at least one side, sometimes both sides. And it eerily for this right here is an English muffin. It eerily has the same texture as the Xinjiang baos in Shanghai.
All right, and this right here. Oh, I love this when I was over there. This is the brisket and fried rice.
Yep.
Man, it looks good.
So that's the so we have smoked brisket.
Right.
We actually do like a Tex-Mex rice.
Uh-huh.
And then also there's a little bit of Maggi seasoning in it and corn scallions, some barbecue sauce.
So you've got barbecue sauce.
Yep. That's just a little extra coleslaw sauce. That's wasabi coleslaw. That's
Wasabi coleslaw.
Yeah,
I don't think I tried. I didn't try that when I was there. I bet that's good. I'm gonna try it when you. Yeah.
And then that's a little mac and cheese sauce. So a lot of things that you would have with barbecue kind of goes on the side, and that's some pickled red onions on top.
So I love wasabi. Why is the wasabi so different depending on what restaurant you go to? Because I can get some wasabi that's really flavorful, some that has no flavor.
Because there's different types.
Okay.
So there's powders.
I thought wasabi was a root. Is it not a root? Okay. So
it comes in powder.
Okay.
That a lot of people rehydrate.
Okay.
It comes frozen grated. Right? Where you'll get a one that's like kind of frozen and grated. That was a different one. And then there's like fresh, almost like chopped too now. And then some people will grow it here. And then also you can get it frozen whole and you can grate it yourself also. So this is like
that's why the flavor varies. Okay.
Yeah, they vary. I haven't seen a new product besides the ones I've seen so far, but you could totally tell like right away which one is which.
Now that I know, I could. Yeah, I would love to taste them all at the same time. Just then just see. Then I would know the difference.
The flavor varies so much.
Yeah.
The heat level varies so much too. It's amazing.
I just like how it opens everything up. It just like, you know.
Yeah, and there's like wasabi oil now too, and there's so many different.
Kind of like truffle. It's just getting popular.
Yes.
Okay, so Chinese Neighbor, you're open 7 days a week.
Six. Closed on Sundays.
Closed on Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. Closed on Sunday. You're gonna build some more of those, right?
We're looking to, but we're going to find the right. It's always
about location,
right?
Yeah,
time and location,
right?
You know,
you're right off the toll road there, right? Mm-hmm. You're right off the toll road. When we got off, we went right over to the
380 and something.
Yeah.
I don't know Texas. I still don't know Texas.
Yeah, that's okay. I encourage people. Oh, and I do want to thank you again for flying back because I missed your deal and for the dinner. I really appreciate that.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, that was awesome.
See, it's worth it if you enjoyed it. If it sucked, then it would have been more. If you didn't like it, I would have sucked.
I really enjoyed it. And you got to admit, you flew from Arizona to Dallas, but I drove from Fort Worth to Prosper just to eat dinner with you. Okay,
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir. So Chinese Neighbor, what's the website?
It's I think it's Chinese Neighbor, like Chinese-neighbor.com.
They can Google it. They can Google Chinese Neighbor. Yep. Yeah. So Chinese Neighbor, it's on social media. Mm-hmm. If you go to Trey's Chowdown tomorrow morning, I'll have a big post and with all the dishes that we did from Chinese Neighbor and the colorful. I'll have the inside everything. That'll post tomorrow morning about mid-morning and on Trey's Chowdown. I posted it one time before, but the way social media works now is you have to post something 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times if you want them to see it, because if they glance at it or they don't see it, then it's gone. And
I know nothing about the algorithm.
I know. Yeah, you do too. They probably tell you. Yeah, and the algorithms keep changing. They change. They change them on you all the time. I mean, it's just crazy. When I first started on social media 10 years ago, algorithms, everybody saw everything, and then over time they just whacked it and whacked it and whacked it and whacked it to where it's just crazy. But anyway. So, Chinese Neighbor, y'all look it up. If you're in Arizona, what's the one in Arizona?
Bitter and Twisted.
Bitter and Twisted. I want that. That'll be fun to go to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me know when you go.
I will.
We'll have a drink.
Yeah, a drink? I posted a thing I have a drink site. I posted a thing on my site that said, it's just never really one drink, is it? Okay, yeah. So, we are going to be at the end of the month. We're going to be straight TCN. It's going to be free for all the viewers, but I like the quality, and the executives at TCN like the quality better. And we've been doing the show now about 6 months on TCN and a year on social media. And at the end of the month, we're going to go to TCN straight for our show because of the quality of the sound and the colors and the cameras. And it's going to be very easy to find. It's just at TCN with 2 clicks, and I'm excited. I'm really excited about that. So. Trey'sChowdown.com. We have the best brunches coming up April 3rd on ABC. The list of best brunches in North Texas will be released on Friday, April 3rd on Daybreak for ABC. It'll be a 2-hour special. I'm very excited about that. They do a great job over there at Victory Park. We take over Victory Park for 2 hours. It's going to be a fantastic show. And we have some unique and crazy brunch dishes that are big, wide, Lots of flavor, savory,
Big
sweet.
surprise.
You're gonna love it, man. You're surprised. You're gonna love these brunch dishes. So before that, before April 3rd, you can go to tracechowdown.com or Trace Chowdown on Facebook, and I have an event on there. Best brunches, most unique brunches in North Texas. Click on that event, and you can be part of the event. Thank y'all. See y'all next week, same time, same bat channel. Bob, thanks. I'm Trey Chapman, publisher of TreyChowdown.com. I'm passionate about finding the best food, drinks, and chefs and sharing it all with you. I should know I have over 5 decades of food experience. Find me on any podcast platform, Facebook Live, or just Google me. Now you can watch and listen to all my great finds every week on my live TV and radio podcast at Trey's Chowdown Live.